All right, welcome to episode number 31 of the Sundowners Golf Club podcast. I am Giovanni, and I'm here with Matt Caldwell. Matt, how's your week been?
I actually had kind of a busy week last week. Was in Seattle, watched some Avs versus Kraken. That was my first away Avs game. That was pretty fun. Then drove back from Seattle and spent the weekend in Walla Walla at the Marcus Whitman with my girl. Just did a bunch of wine tasting, good food, hanging out. It's a good time.
And I heard you went to Passatempo.
We went to Passatempo. Mallory got the carbonara. Solid choice. Can't go wrong, right? I mean, that's a solid choice. I went with one of their specials. Was a chicken agnolotti dish, which is pretty good. Noodles are cooked perfect. And then, of course, finished the night off. I don't know if we've talked about it on the pod, but when I go to an Italian restaurant, I have to finish the night off an affogato. So we got an affogato. They make their gelato in-house, and then they have a local roaster. Coffee was pretty legit. So
I like that. Passatempo is, as of right now, my favorite restaurant within a 100-mile radius of here. Amanda and I went, I guess it was earlier this year, and that place was phenomenal. But speaking of coffee, I'd like to introduce, of course, our show's sponsor, which is the Pick Me Up Coffee Company. If you're looking for the best coffee in town, the Pick Me Up girls will get you dialed in. Their first location is right off of 395 and 27th Avenue near the Walmart in Kennewick. And they have a second location now, and that's off Dallas Road right by the highway. Go check them out if you're looking for a pick-me-up for your day. So, golf world, we've had some things going on. We have the DP World Tour is still just plugging away with weekly events. PGA Tour taking a bit of a break, but they've got some fun stuff going on, like the Optum Golf Channel Games, where Keegan Bradley is showing to be kind of an exhibition golf merchant. And then this last weekend, we had the PNC Championship, which the PNC Championship used to be an event I'd watch every year because we'd always go to my grandpa's house right before Christmas. And we stopped doing it, I think, 2 years ago. And that was just something we would always do while the kids are playing, opening presents. All of us grown-ups would just be sitting there wondering how Tiger and Charlie are doing. And so that one just kind of came and went for me. I see the Kuchers won. That's an event I usually like watching. I just didn't tune in this go around.
did we get reports as to who the caddies were in their situation after the round?
No, in fact, maybe we should look into that, do some investigative journalism and find out who their caddy was and if they tipped accordingly.
Yeah. Everybody needs to know, Matt.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. If he was English speaking, I imagine he tipped him well, and if he wasn't, he probably just used that to its advantage. But anyhow, upcoming for professional golf, typically the season starts off with a tournament at Kapalua. This one was canceled due to, I don't even know if I know the exact reason, but there's some sort of water dispute going on in that part of Hawaii where Kapalua is at. So I think it was announced a couple months ago that they're just canceling the event for the year. So I was waiting to see if they put another tournament in its place, but we'll have to wait till January 15th for the Sony Open, also held in Hawaii. Yeah, and that'll kick off our PGA Tour season. So I know a lot of times for the last month or two, I'll tune in and say I didn't watch a lot of pro golf, but here's what we got. Start of the year is usually where I start ramping it back up because we got major season rolling around in April, so you'll start to get more golf news from us moving forward. But Matt, you tuned to the Optum Golf Channel Games. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I didn't know anything about it. I was just kind of sitting on the couch hanging out and saw it was on the Golf Channel, right? Golf challenge. So I was like, okay, clicked on it. Didn't know anything about it. Didn't know who was in it. And a little bit of me was wondering as I clicked on it if it was the new Big Break or had something to do with Big Break. If you remember that show's coming back. I don't know if you watched that as a kid.
I did.
And so a little bit of me thought it was something to do with the Big Break show. And I was like, oh, okay, let's check this out. And I tune in and it's just a close up of Scotty. I was like, oh, nope, not that. So I just kind of hung out and they were doing this relay event where somebody would tee off. And I've seen this before. There's a couple DP World Tour guys or something like that broke the world record for fastest par 4 completed. You know, one guy teed off, another guy was in the fairway waiting to hit the approach shot, and then there's a third guy on the green to put the ball in the hole. And so they're doing that. They had 4-guy teams. And so, you know, the low score won, but then if it was the score was tied, the speed mattered more, right? So it's just kind of fun watching those guys just, I don't know, goof around. And even Scotty said, he's like, this is kind of fun. Like, you don't do anything like this. This is, you know, a good time. I'm having a blast. So yeah, it was fun to watch. Fun to watch Rory dive into a bunker and sprint through the sand to hit a shot. And it is, I'm not gonna lie, the impressive thing watching it was, you know, a shot goes in the bunker and Rory's the one to hit the third shot. And he jumps in the bunker, opens his club face wide open, no practice swing, no analysis, no nothing, and just hacks at it and puts it inside 15 feet out of the bunker. It's like, man, like these guys are just automatic. Like that shot for us after standing over the ball and doing all the things that we hacks do, you know, we would have been stoked about that show. And Rory just threw his club head at it and it worked. It was a good time.
It's funny you say that because I have my golf strategy over the last few months. I'd say halfway through the club championship became kind of just what Rory did because I was trying everything and nothing was working. And I said, you know, I'm just going to have some fun every time I swing. And things started to kind of fix themselves a little bit. So part of me wonders if doing the speed golf strategy actually could help you.
Right.
You don't overthink every shot. No, I saw some clips from it. I tuned into some of the highlights. I'm going to put it on the list of things that are not bad for golf. They're fun when you tune in. I don't know that they're needle movers, but it's fun when we get to tune into something knowing that, you know, the product that we're getting isn't something we're told is super monumental and that we need to care about it. We just can just tune in and enjoy it. I think we need a little more of that.
I forget the guy's name. Gosh, I can see his face. I can see his swing. I can't remember his name. But there's a funny moment where he hits his drive, but he absolutely hammers it. And it goes, you know, 30 yards further than I think it was Keegan in the fairway. And so Keegan had to sprint 30 yards or so, not just down the fairway, but across. He was on the right side and he hit it long on the left side. So he had to sprint 30 some yards down the fairway and then all the way across it to catch up. And it literally hurt their score because it took an extra, you know, whatever it was, 30 some seconds for him just to get to the ball. It was funny.
I kind of hope that the guys that are doing this are enjoying it. I mean, it looks like, I don't know, guys like Shane Lowry, Keegan Bradley, those guys seem to love it. Like, I don't know about Xander with the skins game. I don't know how much he loved that, but I hope the guys doing it like it so that, you know, when we get these weird, quirky ideas, that they're on board. Like, yeah, the last time I did the Optum Golf Channel games, I had a blast. So yeah, sign me up. I'll do whatever you guys throw at me.
It was fun to watch. It was one of those that like I'm probably not going to put on the calendar as a must watch, got to tune in. But if I'm sitting there on the couch like I was, you know, over the weekend and it's on, like I'm definitely turning it on.
Well, if you look at like the content that comes out of it, it's kind of crazy. Like that chip in that Keegan had.
Yeah.
And the display is like this, you know, target practice, right? They got the different rings that you and I probably saw when we played the Tiger Woods golf game back in 2012. Yeah. It's crazy like how much they can do for the viewer. That's just unreal. Something that we never would have seen back in, you know, 2015 when we first started watching golf.
It was good. I liked it. There was well, now I'm forgetting what it was. There was a comment Lowry made that I had to rewind to make sure that it wasn't as derogatory as I thought it was when it first was uttered.
So, speaking of derogatory phrases, so are you familiar with the phrase WAGs? WAGS?
Right. Yes.
Wives and girlfriends.
Right.
So, I think the first time I heard that phrase, I think was the title of an article from a Ryder Cup a handful of years ago, and it was something about a picture with the Wags, and we're going on a trip to Jackson Hole in a couple weeks to go play hockey against the Jackson Hole Moose, and I play for the Arizona Desert Dogs, and so the phrase "wags" has been getting tossed around a bunch, and Amanda's all excited because she's like, "I'm in a separate group chat with all the other wags," and I told her I was like, "It kind of." I know what the phrase means, and I'm pretty impartial to it, but I can't help but feel like it's a little derogatory calling a group of women the wags. I don't know. Maybe that's just a me thing. What do you think?
Uh, I think I just know what it means, and it doesn't bother me. I don't know.
Just something about
I
it.
think if you
Wags.
didn't know what it meant and you heard somebody mention it for the first time, I could see you giving it, a raised eyebrow, like what the heck is that? But no, if you know what it means and then still are offended, I mean, yikes.
So it's a me problem. All right, understood.
I think it's a G problem.
Okay. So let's see. One other notable thing in the golf world, especially in light of some recent discussion, when we played the game where we had to pick one person from each live team on who we would want back on the PGA Tour. You picked Mito Pereira.
Yeah.
But of course, he decides to retire from professional golf.
What the heck, Mito?
So this is coming off of a pretty poor performance overall at Live, but specifically in 2025, he ended up finishing 49th. And of course, they introduced anybody that finishes outside of the top 48 gets put into the drop zone, meaning they get relegated. They do get an opportunity to play back in, but it seems like in Mito Pereira's case, he finished 49th on the list in 2025 and decided to retire. I saw a Rappaport post on Instagram kind of giving a short synopsis of this, and he described the 2022 PGA Championship when he had a one-stroke lead going into the last hole, and he had, as Rappaport would describe, a T-Rex arms follow through on his tee shot, and I think that's what everybody remembers or knows Mito Pereira from, was this kind of short time in the spotlight at the PGA Championship. But not long after that, he went over to Live and just kind of had a ho-hum career there. But all this to be said, I think he's made about 20 plus million between PGA Tour earnings and Live earnings. So it seems like he's using the model of, what a lot of schmucks like us say when we say how much money do we need to retire for life. It seems like Mito Pereira had that internal discussion and said, you know what? I don't know if I really like playing golf that much. I've made enough money to where I'm set for life. So he's chosen to retire from professional golf.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you have, you did all the hard stuff to get there in the first place, and you set aside a sizable bag now, and I don't know what the transfer rate for American dollar to I don't know what money they use in Chile, but I would imagine the exchange rate is pretty favorable from dollar to Chile. So I think he's doing okay, right? He got to a point where, I mean, he kind of says it in his Instagram post that he wasn't having fun anymore. I think that PGA Championship deal kind of, I don't know, I think it kind of messed him up, and he was hoping that Live he could kind of get reset, and it just never happened. And I think you sit down and you go, okay, I don't have one of those careers people are going to talk about in 10, 15 years, but financially speaking, I did great. And so now I can just take this and I can just go relax, and I can have family time and vacation and just clear my mind. And to be honest, who's to say he doesn't, you know, get his amateur status back or something, and compete a different way. I would be shocked if he's away from golf in a large capacity forever. I would imagine he finds something to come back to. I think guys that have competed at that high level need it. I think it's kind of part of their DNA. But yeah, good for Mito. I know he's not a superstar. We're not going to talk about him in 10 years in his career. Like, who cares? Good for you, buddy.
I had the same feeling. It pops up as a headline, and it felt like I was being told to feel a certain way about it. But the only thing I feel is, like, good for him. Maybe he's a guy who, when you look at Live Golf and what they were doing, they were throwing a bunch of money at people. And I know I've said it before on this podcast, but Mito Pereira, along with Abraham Answer and other guys like that you kind of help. I couldn't help but feel like, man, I wish I could have seen their career play out on the PGA Tour. Mito was one of those guys, and I guess in hindsight, right, he gets the last laugh. He's like, well, maybe my career didn't play out from a standpoint that you're describing. Like, are people going to remember my career? But he made, I think it was $4 or $6 million on the PGA Tour, and then he made another 18 at Live. So in a span of a couple of years, he tripled his net worth. And if he invested properly, or at least stashed away at least $1 million of it, he's going to be just fine. Just fine, relatively speaking, right? If you asked Odell Beckham Jr., that's not enough to live on. But just to give a glimpse into my little pea brain when we talk about money on this podcast, I have a government website I always go to. It's investor.gov, and there's a financial tool on there. It's a compound interest calculator. And just for argument's sake, I put in here my initial investment, $1 million. So if I'm Mito Pereira and I'm deciding, could I just retire and move on? Let's say he still had $1 million of his $20+ million earnings, and he just invested it, put it into let's say he put it into the S&P 500 in Vanguard, VTSAX. After 30 years, because he's 30 years old, let's say he hits retirement age, if he gets a 10% return on average annually for the next 29 years, he'll be sitting on a cool $15 million. And I'd say for schmucks like us, that is kind of a dream retirement. So there's your financial analysis of how you can retire at the age of 30 if you've earned $20+ million. So there you go.
God, I hope for Mito's and his kids' sake that he still has more than $1 million to invest.
Does Mito have kids?
I don't know.
For some reason, I don't think he did. When I think of, so we hear about Mito Pereira retiring, and we have this feeling of good for him. I immediately think of another guy on Live who, in my head years ago, I had a feeling like, you don't have to do this. And that's Matt Wolff. So do you remember Matt Wolff came up? He was with, who did he come up with? Victor Hovland and Colin Morikawa. They all were kind of in the same class, draft class, if you will. Stud. He competed with DeChambeau at Winged Foot at the U.S. Open. And then he ended up going to Live, and we really haven't heard much from him. And it sounded like at a certain time frame, he was kind of going through some, I don't know if throw the D word around too crazy, but it sounded like he was going through some depression and just was struggling finding happiness in golf. I remember at that time thinking, you could just pack it in, man. It's fine. Just pack it in, take some of your earnings, because I think he's got a pretty good career earnings also. And I don't know, maybe more people should adopt the Andrew Luck model of get your bag while you can and then move on and enjoy the rest of your life.
I wasn't prepared for an Andrew Luck reference here.
Well, I guess I don't know how Phillip Rivers is doing right now, but the last time I looked, Phillip Rivers is doing pretty dang good against the 49ers. So I had the Colts on my brain.
How do you do? Great grandfather Rivers.
Well, they were tied at half, but it looks like the 49ers won 48-27.
Yikes.
So there you have it. So Matt, I don't want to give too much of a spoiler, but we're gonna have a guest on next week. So next week will be our last episode of 2025. So we're gonna devote next week's episode to our interview with a local PGA professional. What I want to do with this podcast is I want to treat this as our kind of year-end 2025 year in review. Where are we going next year? And I want to talk about what our favorite moments of 2025 were. I know when I sent you some show notes, I said we're going to do top 5 Sundowners moments, but what I want to do is I want to go back and forth and talk about our top 10 moments between the two of us. It could be Sundowners, it could be golf related, it could be Matt related, but I want to go through the list and recap our year in 2025. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kick it over to you, and we're going to go bottom to top. Okay. So I want you to give me your number 5, top 5 moment, 2025.
Oh man. I'm doing this off the dome here. So, let's say 2025 us related. Our trip to Portland, man. This probably should be higher on the list, but it's one of the first things that comes to mind. But yeah, our Sundowners championship weekend, we went to Portland. We got a Airbnb that us degenerates should not have been in. It was gorgeous. It was amazing. And what a fun weekend. Such a good time.
Yeah, I mean the Airbnb there was remarkable. We got a place. We had kind of slim pickings on somewhere that can host 16 people. And we kind of stretched the limit with what we booked. We booked a place.
That's why we booked a place good for 12 people.
Right. Technically, it fit 12, and we were kind of stretching the limits a little bit. And then ultimately, I ended up paying the price for that. But the place was stunning. It was in the middle of a vineyard. It was, it was stinking beautiful. It was so nice that across the street they had like housekeepers residents, and we ended up interacting with the housekeepers across the street, across the cul-de-sac, I should say. And it was a beautiful, beautiful place. It was awesome place to have our champions dinner. They had a little spiral staircase up to like a little library. It was wonderful. And of all the places, I chose to sleep at that place. Beautiful place, nice beds, nice upholstery. The last night I ended up just sleeping on the little outdoor patio furniture outside.
Yeah, and apparently that was news to everybody. You and I went to dinner with our wags this week, and apparently I outed you on sleeping on the couch. So sorry about that, buddy.
No, it's okay, because I know we had a bit of a recap on this weekend, but these the club championship weekend is truly one of my highlights of my year every year. It's so fun. And after the championship was over, so Saturday night, we're out just talking with everybody on the back patio, and slowly, one by one, people tail off to go to bed, and eventually it was just me, Jason, and Brandon. And before you know it, I can see the sun starting to come up. And never once did I have a thought of I should probably go to bed. And I think it was, it might have been 3:30 or 4 in the morning that finally said, maybe we should go to bed. And I didn't want to go waltz around and look for a place to sleep, even though I had a bed. I just decided to lay my head down right there.
Yeah, I was the first one out of that group. We were all out on the patio, and I have to admit, I may have been the first person in bed Saturday night. I had partaken in the staying up late the 2 nights previous, and I just, I'm not built to do that 3 nights in a row. It was too much. By the time 10 o'clock rolled around Saturday night, I was beat. We had played, 3 rounds of golf. I don't know how many bottles of wine, but more than one. And it was time for Matt to go to sleep. So I think I was the first guy to go down Saturday night. And
Yeah,
you and I were
I
sharing a room. And so I woke up in the morning going, where's my boy? Where's my boy Chi? I need to find out where this guy is. I need to go rescue him. And then I found you having your Z's out on the back patio.
Yeah, that's right. No, I like that. So number 9 for me. This one's going to be not specifically a Sundowners sanctioned event, but I have the entire event listed later, but specifically number 9 for me is going to be when I almost had a hole-in-one on a par 4 at Buffalo Peak Golf Course in Grande, Oregon. We had, I was watching the video earlier. It was a 272-yard par 4. I don't even remember how far under par we were in that particular moment, but I hit a drive.
Do you have the picture?
I have the picture and the video. I do. And I hit a drive, and it just never left the flag stick, and it ended up just after watching the video, maybe 9 inches from the hole. Tapped it in for a 2. That when I look back on 2025, that's one of those things that just immediately pops up in my head was that particular shot. But it's funny that particular shot actually gets overshadowed by like the large scale memory of that entire day, which we'll talk about later. But that's my number 9 for 2025.
Well, maybe if I knew that was going to be your number 5, I would have said this one earlier because I also had a shot on this tournament, and I'm sure this tournament's probably going to come up again. I had a shot. It was a shorter par 4, but drastic downhill, and I hit a 2 hybrid, and we couldn't see the green.
Nope, no idea where it's at.
You and Jason were like, Matt, just fire away. You're the guy. And I think we had one safe in the fairway, but it was not like this was one of the holes where I think most of the time I probably would have just hit one in the fairway. Because if I remember this hole correctly, because I think you know which hole I'm talking about.
I know
exactly. I don't think you hit a good I don't think you hit a good shot. Like Dave hit a shot in the fairway, but it was like way back, right? Like it was in the fairway, right? Air quotes. And so I think most of the time I would have just hit something safe, but you guys were like, nah, fire away, hit it. I was like, okay. So I teed up the 2 hybrid, and I gave it a hellacious swing, and because it was too far for my 2 hybrid, but too close for the driver. And we didn't know what it was going to be like. And we get in the carts and head on down, and it was only a couple feet from the cup. And I was able to, a long tap in for a 2 on that hole.
Yeah, so that particular hole, I think it was hole 10, right after the turn. And it's a kind of a dramatic downhill dogleg right. You can't see the green. All you can see is the fairway straight ahead, and you can tell that it drops down into the right pretty drastically. And you're right. We had a safe one, or at least we thought it was safe. Right. It wasn't a terribly long hole, so we could see the ball still. So we knew at most we're hitting a wedge into this thing. And you're right. I hit one that was right. It would have been. I think it ended up being pin high right at the flag. It didn't really look like a good one off the tee. And then when you hit one, where you hit it perfect, and none of us know where the flag's at, so we're like, I think that's pretty good. So then we had that fun moment of driving over the precipice of the fairway, and we see one. I think if my memory's right, it was like 6 or 8 feet away.
Okay.
But none of us grabbed our putters. We just waited for you because you
said I remember that. I said, no, I've got this. I told you guys
you're in the carts. You're being all cocky, and at this point we were like 12 under through 10. So we were like, yeah, I'm not grabbing my putter.
And I drained it.
So is that your number 8 moment then?
Yeah, I had this tournament. I think is probably going to come up again, but that of the golf shots I hit that were kind of like holy crap. That was probably one of my personal favorites.
So I'm gonna use that as a segue for my next one. Okay, so for what are we at? 10, 9, 8, 7. Okay, so for number 7, I'm gonna use your shot as a segue because it's frustrating when you have a shot like that, but you don't actually know the result till you get there. And I
Right.
think I loved my par 4 near ace because we knew it was going to be close. You can
We
see the
watched
ball
it.
kind
Yeah.
of there. In your head, you're like, is this one of those moments where it looks right next to the hole, but it's actually 15 feet away?
Right.
So for me, number 7 is when I went and played Wine Valley with Adam, who's another Sundowner, also probably like a top 3 human being that I've ever met. Really, really great person. I hope to have him on the pod here soon. We were playing around at Wine Valley just for funsies, just me and him. We're on number 7 at Wine Valley. I hit a drive in the fairway. I don't remember what tees we were playing, but I was pretty far back compared to normal on that hole. So I think it was about 270 to the flag. I hit a 3-iron. If anybody's played Wine Valley, you know that a 3-iron can go that far. I probably carry it 220 usually, but in my head, I was just going to hit a 3-iron and kind of there's a big slope on the front right part of the green. So I was just going to try to play up the left side and hopefully it catches a piece of green. And I hit this thing perfectly. I watch it come down and it lands just short of the green and rolls onto the green and we lose sight of it. At this point, we don't know where the flag's at because there's a big mound in front of it. And also on this particular hole, Adam just really struggled. So there was Adam shot next, hit it into the weeds. He goes and finds it in the weeds, hits it again, and it's still in the weeds. So we spend some time finding it. He hits another one, and it's in the weeds again. We spend some time finding it, and he finally hits it up near the green. So maybe about 10 minutes has passed. We get up to the green, and I'm like, okay, where's my golf ball? I thought I hit the perfect shot. So him and I start looking around the green, looking at the bunker here, the bunker there. And I told Adam, I go, I got to check the hole. And I step over the hole, and there's my ball. I have my little Veolia logo. I was playing my work balls that they give us. I see it staring at me, and I just was like, Adam, it's in the hole. And we just were so excited. I didn't even take a picture because I just grabbed it and we started celebrating. That's my number 7. It's not fully a Sundowners thing, but I was with a fellow Sundowner. It's the only time I've hit an albatross, and I didn't even get to see it go in.
Beautiful. I love that.
So I'm going to add to my story here, actually, and this isn't even my own story, but I got a buddy, David Vongeloth. I used to work with him. He's at least the last time I checked when I played a tournament with him, he was below scratch. Really, really good golfer. One of those golfers that's like incredibly boring. He doesn't hit the ball very far. He doesn't make a special sound when he hits it, but he rarely shoots over par. Just a really, really stinking good golfer. He ended up shooting an albatross on number 7 at Sun Willows twice, 1 week apart from each other on the same hole.
Sick.
Sorry, not number 7, number 8 at Sun Willows. Both times he hit driver to the top of the hill, 7-iron in the hole.
I love that hole. I sidebar, but that same hole, I do the same thing. Driver to the top of the hill, and I'm playing with my son. But he's not playing. He's riding along. He likes riding along, and usually he's just in the cart, dicking around doing what 6-year-olds do. And I hit the driver top of the hill, and he's standing next to me, actually watching the shot. And I hit the iron, and I'm watching it, going, man, everything about that felt right. I should be pretty close to the pin here, if I'm, got my yardage right. And I remember it hits, and it hits, and my first thought was like, that feels really close to the flag. But because you're kind of up, right? Sometimes it's kind of hard to judge just exactly where you're at. And it hits the flag on the up hop. It hits the ground, hits the flag on the up hop, and then kind of sticks next to the pin. And my son goes, "Oh, you hit the flag, Dad. That's pretty cool." And in my head, I'm like, I almost hold out with a 2 on a par 5. And he's just like, that was neat. That was kind of neat, Dad. Good job.
So I'm going to sidebar your sidebar here. We're
Yeah.
derailing our top 10 here, but
It's all right.
I don't know if I've told this story on the podcast, but when I was in college, I was going to Gonzaga University, and in the summer, I did research with my biology professor. And one of my research partners was Nico Kunanen, and he knew I liked golf, and he was like, "Hey, we should go golfing sometime. I've never been." I was like, "Okay, perfect. I know a place we can go." And there's a place called Pine Acres in Spokane. I don't actually know if it's still open or not, but it's a very short course in North Spokane, just down the road from Wandermere Golf Course. And all the tees are off of mats. It's a very wooded area. I don't know that there's a hole longer than 100 yards. It's got a great driving range though, so a lot of people will go to the driving range there before they go to Wandermere. So I told Nico, I said, "Well, let's go to Pine Acres. It's a perfect place to play your first round of golf." And I never actually played there at this time, but we show up there and we get to the first hole, and it's off the mats. It's maybe 70 yards, and there's a tree limb overhanging. So I had a 60-degree in my hand, and I had to. It was a kind of a tricky shot, relatively speaking, but it's a silly par 3. So I hit this kind of punchy 60-degree wedge, and it goes in the stinking hole. And Nico never played golf, doesn't watch golf, doesn't know anything about golf, just says, "Nice," as if I bowled a strike or something in bowling. And I was trying to like suppress my feelings, being like, I had to explain to him how impressive that was. I was like, "It went in the hole?" He's like, "Yeah, I saw it. It was pretty good." He had no idea that we could stand there for 10 more hours and I would never do it again.
Yeah, he just kind of gave you one of these.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good shot. It's like getting a strike in bowling. That's pretty good. Pretty good.
I
All
think.
right, Matt, give us number 6, buddy.
So how many do I have left then? 6.
You're at 6. You'll have 4. You'll have 2.
I think I know what my top 2 should be. One's going to be cheesy, but it is what it is. I'll say overall that Buffalo Peak tournament. It was all kind of sewn together on a whim, but best I can tell. I believe you were going down there for a wedding.
That's
and
right.
you happened to look up, or maybe Levi told you about.
Levi messaged me about it. Yep.
So you play pickleball with Levi. So Levi hit you up saying, "Hey, there's this golf tournament," and I think you just kind of text me saying, "Hey, last minute, do you want to do this tournament?" It's like, I ain't got shit doing. Yeah, let's do it. And so we just kind of put this little ragtag, scramble team together. You, me, Jason, and Dave. And I remember it was on the first hole. Did we bogey the first hole or par the hole? I feel like we bogeyed the first hole.
We didn't have any bogeys that day.
But so it was just a par. But I remember us joking about
No. We birdied the first hole, but it was a par 5. But it was kind of a grimy birdie. It was a very reachable par 5. We all missed the green on our second. We chipped it relatively close and putted in.
And then on the second hole, we parred it because we got a par early.
Second hole, we parred it. We actually chose my shot on the approach, which is a shot that I shanked, and somehow it ended up like 20 feet from the hole, and that was our best shot.
And we joked, we don't have a chance. Tournament's over.
Yeah.
And we laughed. Ha ha ha. We're done. Ha ha ha. We don't have a shot of this tournament. And then it turned into we couldn't miss. I mean, there's a video. I think we've played it on the pod. There's a video of this. None of us hit a good shot into the green, and so our best look was this like 20-something foot uphill putt from the front of the green to the back of the green. And you were our leadoff guy, and you did it twice to us. And you hit this putt, and it went in. And I'm sitting behind you watching the line of the putt. And I remember halfway to the cup, I'm like, holy shit, if this has the pace, I think this is going to go in. And it disappeared. And I literally just, my head just felt like, what do we do here? We just couldn't miss. After joking we were out of the tournament, we ended up shooting 20 below par and winning by, I think, 4 strokes is the next closest. 3 strokes was the next closest.
Yeah, that I know we've definitely talked about on this podcast, and that was on my list as well. But just usually when you show up to a scramble, and this one was a veterans charity scramble. Usually when you show up to charity scrambles, there's like the winning score is so absurd that you immediately think, well, those guys either bought 1,000 mulligans, they bought 100 yards of putts, or they cheated. And we were probably, I think it was right after you eagled that hole 10 that we were starting to talk about, okay, this is starting to feel a little bit weird. I'm feeling guilty. And then right after that hole was the par 5 that you just described, that we just stole an eagle from the course. I've never been in a golf tournament where I'm feeling guilty or nervous about, the award ceremony. And just to be clear, I want to just go through our handicaps for our team. So this is as they stand right now, but Matt was our low handicap. Right now he's at a 6.7. I'm at an 8.4. We had Dave on the team. Right now he's at a 12, and Jason's a 10.9. So we didn't have a team, no offense to you, me, or anybody. We didn't have a team full of sticks that showed up and just beat up the course. This truly was like the stars were aligning in this moment, and we just could not stink and miss. It was honestly a day I won't forget. It is as silly as it is to say that we won a veterans charity tournament, but it was just, our reaction at a certain point was just laughing every time we got a birdie. Fortunately, the group behind us kind of was laughing with us, because I think they saw some of the shots that we made, like my putt on, this might have been 9.
It was the group in front of us was watching us on the green about halfway through.
And yeah, it was that was on my list. That was number 3 on my list. Just truly a day I won't forget. It was really fun that like the tournament was put on really well. I thought it was a cool tournament. My brother went to Eastern Oregon University, which is in Grande, and he had always told me about Buffalo Peak, saying it's a cool place. And it was a beautiful course. I say conditions were medium. It's kind of what you'd expect, I guess, being a course in Grande with low green fees, but beautiful. I mean, the whole course is kind of built on the slope of this kind of rolling mountain, like mini mountain range, and a lot of undulation, a lot of slopes. Just a cool course. I'd like to go back, honestly.
I want to, yeah.
All right, Matt, I'm going to take us away with number 5. Okay, this is in the same vein as our Portland trip, but specifically when I think of my top 10 moments of the year, I think of that game of 21 we played at the practice green at Pumpkin Ridge. Okay, so for everybody listening, we finished our club championship at Pumpkin Ridge, which was our round 2. I'm not going to give any spoilers for my number 1 on this, but when it ended, we did a little bit of an awards ceremony in the clubhouse there, and nobody really wanted to stop. So we decided that all 16 of us would go out to the putting green, practice green, and we would play a game of 21, which is, if you haven't played 21 on the practice green, it's where you compete with others. And if you hit 21 putts, you're out. And with 16 people, it took us like 2 hours, but there was all sorts of chaos going on. It was like an organized chaos. Everybody was in on it. We had stymies in play. We had people knocking balls out of the way. It was just a fun moment. And looking back on it, like post round was one of my favorite memories from that trip. We ended up going to the driving range and doing like swing impersonations.
Yeah.
It was too dark. We couldn't even see. We had some of the Pumpkin Ridge employees coming out. One of them's a college golfer, and he's showing us up. Just like true golfer sicko shenanigans going on. We kept it all, high and tight. Nothing crazy was going on, but we just enjoyed ourselves at Pumpkin Ridge for about 4 hours after our round of golf ended.
That was a good time. That was a good time. I remember for 21, I was kind of in the front group for a long time. I think I was only like a stroke in front of Matilla, and so I was kind of keeping quiet about it, right? I wasn't being braggadocious or anything, and I forget what happened, but you know, you get your ball knocked out of the way, and it just becomes kind of a tough situation, and I got put in where, you know, I had to use a couple extra strokes, and I knew I was out of it, and I had one ball between me and the cup, and it was my 21st stroke. So even if I made this putt, I'm out. And I ask, whose ball is this? I want to know, whose ball is this? And I look up, and Matilla is staring at me, looking in my soul. And he says, don't. That's all he says. Don't. And I said, Matilla, is this your ball? Because I knew he was in the lead. And it was an easy, like 1 foot putt. Like, he's making the putt. And I said, what is it worth to you? Like, right? I wanted some cash. Because I was out anyway, right? Pay me, and I won't do it. I'll put my ball backwards. You pay me. And he wouldn't pay me. So I hit his shit all the way to the clubhouse. I hit his ball so hard. He was hitting his next shot from the clubhouse deck. And then I believe that opened the window for Brandon Squires to win that little tournament. Is that what happened?
I think Seth ended up winning, actually. Yep, Seth won. We got to give Seth his credit that he deserves. You know, it's funny that I was saying that these club championships are you know, marked on my calendar every year, and it's stuff like that makes the trip, right? Like, we go there for the golf, we try to win the club championship, but it's just a bunch of golf sickos doing golf sicko things, and it's so fun. And it's just up there, man. When I look back, when I was doing my own kind of thought exercise, what are my favorite moments? I just was thinking about that driving range, trying to mimic Brandon's swing.
Yeah.
Which maybe we'll do a little Brandon Squires a shout out post on Instagram here soon. We'll put some highlight reels up there. You guys can all see his incredibly flat golf swing.
And what's wild is his practice swings are gorgeous.
What's also wild is he's a really good golfer. It's like there's nothing wrong with anything that he does. I mean, he right now he is. I'm just looking. He's a 5.5 handicap. So he is currently the second lowest Sundowner. Hope is number 1 at 3.1. So, like, generally speaking, there's nothing wrong with his golf swing. It's just really flat. It's hard to get a video of his swing. I'll just say that without his club head getting out of the frame.
All right, is it me at 4 here?
Yep, number 4 for you, Matt.
I'm gonna go early in our Sundowner season. Around a 60s at Horn Rapids, and my partner was Hope. You just mentioned Hope. And that was probably the most fun, complete round of golf I played all season. Her and I ended up winning that week. And her and I just played off of each other so stinking well. It was one of those, like, you know, usually the player hitting first is like, you know, hit the safe shot, hit the smart shot. And we were kind of playing well enough that the first person was putting pressure on the second person to hit a better shot. I remember vividly on hole, what is that? Hole 7 at par 4. I had a really good drive. I mean, down the center of the fairway. And she hit she hit a good drive. She doesn't miss the fairway. And if she does, it's not by much. So I think I was hitting a shot, you know, just from the rough and on the right side, and the pin was on the front right. And her and I kind of talked over the shot. I was like, I think I kind of want to land it just short of the green. It's going to move left. I think I can put it close here. And I hit the shot, and it landed short right of the flag and rolled up. And I think I was 5 feet, maybe 6 feet from the flag. And she goes up to my shot, and same thing. Like, I think you should just hit the same thing. I think that's this. I think that's the move. And she does it, and hers checks up harder than mine did, and ends up only like a foot or two from the flag. And it was just stuff like that for her and I the whole round, and it was an absolute blast.
So it's funny you say that because this wasn't on my list, but now that you mentioned it, I had a week at Horn Rapids, and I believe Hope was my partner that day too.
Oh, geez, what a sicko!
And maybe we should just do like a general shout out to Hope here because she's our lowest handicap golfer. She's one of the original members, and she's just a stud on the golf course. She's sitting at a 3.1 right now. And when we started Sundowners, we were trying to build kind of a rule book, a handbook for how we do things. And we initially were going to play whites. And then Hope was she was number 8 of the 8 golfers the first year. And so we said, we're going to play whites, you'll play reds. And she said, I don't know that I really want to play reds because it's just kind of boring. So that was the moment that we always decided we're always going to play the blues or the one-up tees. She's going to play one-up from us. So all season long, she plays from the white tees no matter where we go. So that's just a testament to her and how stinking good at golf she is.
She doesn't miss She doesn't miss.
Yeah. Yeah, so my Horn Rapids moment with Hope came at week 6. I got the spreadsheet here in front of me. Hope and I played a pretty ho-hum. We were playing scramble at Horn Rapids. We played a pretty ho-hum round. We had one birdie on the front 9. The rest were pars. We went birdie on 12, double bogey on 13, and then we proceeded to birdie 4 of the last 5 holes. And I was putting first, and we were on hole 14. And I remember it vividly also. I just was like overreading greens, and I was leaving stuff short. And I just told her, I go, you know what? I'm just going to putt the line, and I'm just going to make it. I'm going to start making it, just being really cocky, trying to talk myself into playing good golf. Made like a 30-footer, and then the next hole made like a 20-footer, 16, made a 15-footer. I just was making everything to end it. And we ended up winning that week. It looks like by 2 strokes. So yeah, shout out to Hope. She used to live off of hole number 1. Her parents did. And then now her parents live off of hole, gosh, I hope I'm not, it was just, what do they call this, doxing when you when you identify information. Her parents live off of the first par 5, so hole number 3 out there. So Horn Rapids has been her backyard for a long time. So she shows up to play. All right, so I think we're at number 3 now. So my number 3, again, it's going to be a Portland trip thing, but specifically for me, number 3, I think the Sundowners have nicknamed him Matumbo, but the prize that I found at Goodwill for the MVP, who we all voted on while we were in Portland, and I want to go back in time because the couple weeks leading into the championship, I guess for the listeners, every year at the club championship, and Brandon started this, Brandon Squires did, we do a vote on various different topics, and then there's a prize associated with it. So we might vote who's the best putter of the year. We all anonymously vote who's the long drive guy, whatever the topics are. And so a couple weeks leading into the Portland championship, I'm just scouring all these thrift stores, going to Goodwills and all 3 of the Tri-Cities and trying to find some stuff. And Amanda's with me, and we're at Goodwill, and she's like, well, what are we looking for? And I remember telling her, I don't know, but when I see it, I'll know it. Because at this point, we don't even have categories in mind. and I see a Goodwill worker. He's got a cart of stuff. He's kind of finding a place to put it in the store. He's holding up this massive picture. And I walk up to him and go, "Can I see that?" He goes, "Yeah, sure." He turns it. And I said, "That's it." And Amanda's like, "That's what?" I was like, "This is it. This, I don't know what it is, but this is it. I need this." And so I ended up grabbing it from the guy. I think it was $7. And it's a picture of what appears to be some sort of, I don't know, African king. It's a beautiful portrait, large portrait. There's a big, beautiful tiger in front. It's some sort of African royalty, and I just knew I had to have it. And when we finally did our votes for MVP, I remember it came down to me and Adam got the final vote. He won the MVP, and we passed off Matumbo, which is what he's been nicknamed. And it just, the amount of buzz around that thing, even following the Portland championship, everybody's like, we need to find another Matumbo. And it's so good that I'm worried that we'll never be able to live up to it again in Sundowners' future. Like, can I ever find something as good as that for next year? I don't know. I don't know. I just that moment of Adam holding it up, all the pictures and videos we have with it later on, it's just so stinking good.
I love that picture. You and I not debated, but discussed what that prize meant versus other prizes for the same award. There was like good, lively discussion over it because it just kind of, we one of the discussions was, the unfortunate potential to Adam was that now becomes the rotating prize, that will always be the prize instead of there being a new one every year, that you just get to hold on to the Matumbo for a year and you have to travel with it. I think that was one of the arguments, at least that I made, that, someday when we're traveling by plane, the fun, unfortunate burden of the MVP of the previous season is that you have to travel with Matumbo, knowing you're gonna have to explain that shit to somebody. Like, what are you carrying around?
Well, I'm in a golf league. I got MVP, and I got to bring it to the next one.
Right.
Yeah,
But it's so weird, but intriguing at the same time. Like, it's got all of the stuff. Like, it's not what's the word? It's not like chintzy to the point where it's goofy and nobody's going to talk about it. It's serious, but not like it. I don't know. It's all of the stuff.
I mean, it really is a beautiful portrait. In fact, I'll see if I can pull it up here. It's just wonderful, and yeah, we can pull this thing up here. It's perfect, and I think I actually like the idea of instead of making that the prize for getting voted MVP, I almost think that should be the prize for whoever wins the individual championship. I mean, and just look at it. It's beautiful. It cost me about $6. Yeah, I think that's going to be that'll be here to stay for the Sundowners lore moving forward.
Love that.
All right, Matt, give us number 2 of your top 10 moments from 2025.
This is going to be cheesy, but the start of this podcast, man, number 1 for me. This has been fun. I love it, and I'm glad we started it. It's my favorite thing.
This was my number 2, so you stole my number 2. I know we've probably talked about it at least at the early stages of this podcast, but it's just been stinking fun. I know that you and I had talked about just like conversationally talking about it'd be fun to do a golf podcast, and it was something that, because you were as interested as I was on board, but admittedly I was one close friend away from them saying, I don't know, that's kind of weird. I probably would have just dropped it. And so we just kind of quietly started it because I was kind of half in, half out, and we just put a date on the calendar, said this would be day one of recording. Um, it's been stinking fun, man. We started off with our first episode recorded on my phone. I don't even know if our mics worked. I happen to have some wireless mics that may or may not have worked, and since then we've upgraded. I mean, look at the mics we have now. Our audio is a heck of a lot better. I mean, Matt hasn't got there yet, but look at the video quality here. I mean, this is beautiful.
We'll get
I,
there. The new
I
year's around the corner. Matt's gonna fix his life. All right.
I've learned so much since we started the podcast because I didn't know anything about how to do what we're doing. I didn't have a clue, and I've learned so much. And I've just since starting the podcast, I've started to dip my toes into video editing. So I'm starting to do reels on Instagram and YouTube shorts and all that stuff I knew nothing about. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm good at it. Anybody that's listening that's watched my stuff is probably like, yeah, you suck at it. That's okay. But if anything, this has driven me to start taking some action on some of these things. And it's been stinking fun. I can't believe we're on episode 31. Out of 100, by the way. I don't have we talked about this? I'm sure we have, but when we first started, we had set a minimum episode. We said goal, but it's not really a goal, but we both agreed that if we're going to do this, we're going to do it for at least 50 episodes. And it probably was about 10 episodes ago that we had agreed we're going to do 100. 100 is the number. We're going to do this at least 100 times. And we'll go from there, which is essentially a 2-year commitment, really, right? If we do an episode a week, that's pretty much a 2-year commitment. So we're here to stay. If you like listening, keep tuning in. I hope.
Yep.
All right,
Yeah,
Matt, I'm going to round us off.
is a good number.
So I'm going to round us off at number 1. And I'm going to be honest, so far in my golf memory, this is my number one most memorable moment of my golf career. And it was watching Mario hit his last shot into 18 at Pumpkin Ridge. I'll never forget it. It was such a fun moment. I know we've talked about it on here before, but I'm going to talk about it again here. Okay, so I'm going to paint the picture. So we're at Pumpkin Ridge, round 2 of the club championship. I'm in the second to last group. I was in the last group to start, played poorly the first day. And so unfortunately, I was a little bit out of the mix. I was hanging in there though. I had a chance. I ended up finishing second. But while we're playing, we have the Grint app, which shout out to the Grint, especially after all this went down. We use the Grint for live scoring. Okay, so anybody on the course can see where they're at. We all post our score hole by hole. So at any given moment, we know where we're at in the leaderboard. So there's 16 of us. 12 of us are done golfing. We're on the 18th hole at Pumpkin Ridge. The leaderboard says that Seth is in the lead by 1 stroke over Mario. Adam and Jason are in the group 2, and they're not too far off. We watch him tee off. Mario hits really a perfect drive. It's in the fairway. If you haven't played Pumpkin Ridge, 18 there, or at least 18 when we played it, was a par 4. There's a pond at the end of the fairway on the right of the green. So hitting driver may make it to the pond, so you got to hug the left side. And there's a creek that runs all the way along the right side of this fairway. So Seth hits his ball in the creek on the right side. And we're all watching from a distance, sitting along the green, trying to figure out what Seth's going to do. Because he's got a 1-shot lead. How is he going to proceed? What he ends up doing is he hits the ball out of the creek and into the fairway. Now, this is neither here nor there. He could have taken a drop just the same, but it was fun to watch. So at this point, him and Mario are sitting on even. Seth's hitting his third. Mario's waiting to hit his second. Seth goes on to hit 3 balls into the water from that same spot. So he hits one in the water, drops it outside of the hazard, hits another in the water, hits another in the water, and then finally hits one on the fringe of the green. Adam goes up next. And Adam I misspoke. I said everybody was in the mix. Adam played a very bad round of golf that day. He was not in the mix, but he also hit 2 balls in the water. And then Jason goes up next, and he hits a ball. It ended up on the fringe, but for some reason he thought it might have been a lost ball, so he hits another ball. So Mario's sitting there, sitting on the lead, and he watched, I lost count, 7 golf shots in front of him. And this is a terrifying approach shot. The pin is in the back right side of the green. So if you're going to even have a chance at going for the green, the water is definitely in play. So Mario steps up and hits this shot that was all over the flagstick, never left the flagstick. It lands maybe 10 feet short of the green or short of the flag and checks up. I think it finishes about 6 feet from the hole, and everybody starts going crazy. We all have our Grint app open. We know exactly how the leaderboard shakes out. All Mario had to do is put a ball in play that's dry, and he can 4-putt and win. And instead, he goes right at the flag and then 2 putts to win. That moment, from my perspective, was the most memorable moment in my entire golf career, and it was from my brother.
That's awesome. No, that one was fun to watch for sure. And I remember talking to him. I kind of go, "You were aimed way left, huh?" And he goes, "Yeah." He's like, "I was so I watched all those balls go in the water, and I hit mine. I was like, yeah, but it looked so good from our perspective, man, that it was on top of the flag, landed." From my perspective, I don't remember where you were sitting, but from my vantage point, I was basically even with where the ball hit the green. And I don't think it cleared that, those railroad ties. I think kind of that edge where the water is by more than 1.5 feet. I mean, it was tight. It was tight.
I mean, you can't hit that shot without putting the water in play. You just can't.
Right.
And
No.
in that moment, I mean, Mario got truly, they say icing the kicker, right? Calling a timeout right before they kick. Mario got iced times 10.
Right.
If he was nervous before he hit that shot, before they walked up and found out where their balls were, it had to be times 10 by the time he watched Seth dunk 3 in the water, Adam dunk 2, and Jason hit a provisional. And he stepped up and he hit a stinking grand slam in the bottom of the ninth. It was such a fun stinking moment. And he's my brother. I'm proud of my brother. That was I truly, my favorite moment to date in golf was that for my brother. It was awesome.
That was good. That was fun.
All right, so we didn't share show notes on this, but I want to talk about, and we don't have to do a top 5 or anything here, but I want to go over the not top 10. Okay, I want to go over the not top 10, and I'm going to kick us off here for the not top 10 2025 Sundowners. And this is I hope some of the Sundowners are listening, and I hope they've got their listening ears on. I've had some self-reflection about this, but I gotta say, Portland Championship was an all-time trip, but maybe it's just because it's my brother. I love him. Unconditional love, but I think we need to honor our champion a little better than we did at Portland. Okay. Like I said, at the end of the round, we all hung out on the putting green. We did some shenanigans on the driving range, but then we go out and celebrate my own brother's championship. We had 7 Sundowners with us. I didn't like it. Didn't feel right. And I felt that my brother was a little bit cheated. I think moving forward, we need to start celebrating these guys a little bit more, okay? I've won one of these things, and we celebrated, all of us in tow at the Brick in Cle Elum, in Roslyn, Washington, technically. We were all there. We all celebrated together, and I felt that my brother got a little bit cheated on his celebration. What do you think?
No, I agree. There was quite a, to use kind phrasing, miscommunication on the plan that evening. Yeah, I think it could have been more, especially where we ended up going. There was a kick-ass live band. And I felt like that could have been the perfect joint to celebrate our golf championship. I mean, everybody there was already kind of like, who are these guys? We stuck out. We stuck out. Like, we can admit that. And then we had a trophy tagging along with us. That if we had a group of 16 people just take over this bar with the live music, it would have been epic, I think. So
It would absolutely would have been epic, and I can say that from experience because when I won at Suncadia, we all went to the Brick, and there was a live band playing, and it was awesome, and it felt like that in the moment, right? I got a pitcher of beer. I had a pitcher in one hand and my glass in the other, and I didn't let go the entire night. And we all just celebrated the fun weekend. It wasn't even like celebrating Giovanni. It was just like, hey, we're done. We found our champion. Let's go celebrate it. So that's that's on my list of things to do for next year. Is we're going to make sure that we celebrate accordingly for whoever our champion is, because I mean, so far we've only had 5. We've had 5 years of this, and only 5 champions. So that's my not top 10. What do you got for your not top 10, Matt?
I think with you surprising me on this one, I think it's all kind of self-reflective, and you can probably just list them down for all of the big tournaments. I've been a Sundowner for 2 seasons now, and both seasons I've done kind of the same thing. I start the season out really hot, and I'm at the top or near the top of the leaderboard. And then as the season goes on, I just kind of fart my way down the leaderboard and just don't perform as well, especially when it comes to the championship weekends. I had an okay week or okay day 2 in Portland. Not enough to pull me out of the hole I had dug day 1, but I would say the not my top 10 would be just down the stretch Matt performance.
Well, why don't we take a little deep dive here, okay? So let's look at the standings throughout the season, okay? So Matt, as you said, okay, so you got week 1, you ended up finishing 4th. You earned yourself 130 points, okay? So you're out of 8 positions, so there's a 1 through 8 every week. You finished top 4. Week 2 is the week at Horn Rapids. You finished 1st place. Okay, off to a great start. Week 3, you get 100 points. You got 5th place with Danny. Week 4, you finished 3rd place, 170 points. Week 5, this is where we start to see the bit of the lull in the season. Okay, you get last place with Jordan. This was at Meadow Springs stroke play event.
We did not have a good time.
Week 6, you finished 2nd to last in Horn Rapids in a scramble with Josiah. Week 7.
Can I comment on that weekend real quick? Can I comment on it?
Take it away, Aaron. Take it away.
Do you have the individual scores for that week?
We played scramble, but I have your guys' scorecard pulled up here.
I don't remember what we shot, but I will say this. I remember me and Josiah coming in, and we were talking like, how do you think we did compared to the field? And I was like, I don't think we won, but I could see us right in the middle of the pack. That's kind of where I thought. I was like, I think middle of the pack, we'll be fine. And when we started talking to everybody about where they were at that day, Josiah and I were like, holy crap, we got smoked.
It is funny because you guys ended up shooting a 71, so you're 1 under par. There was only one other position, so you had Jordan and Jared and Danny and David who shot over par, but you guys still shot under par, so you really weren't that far off from more points that week. But
right,
unfortunately, you were the 2nd worst score. So week 7, another tough week for you. Another 2nd to last, tied for 6th. You guys got 60 points. This was
I with again? Remind me.
6 is at Canyon Lakes. You were with James. Another day where you guys shot under par. Okay, you guys shot a 69, but we had a 65 out there out of Timmy and Tyler. We had a 67 with Jesse and Josiah. A couple of 368s. So it was just one of those days where you played pretty good, but not good enough. It looks like week 8 you did pretty good. You and I finished 2nd place at Columbia Point in stroke play. You shot an individual net 73. So we both shot 78s that day at Columbia Point. So you were able to kind of get back on it. And then really quickly, we'll look at our championship scorecard here. I'm sharing it with everybody. You ended up finishing total. You finished 8th place, solo 8th place. So I don't know if we've ever gone over this with everybody after the big snafu with Grant and my mistake on the scoring, but just to go over the club championship leaderboard, Mario finished in 1st place. Jordan, myself, and Jason tied for 2nd. Seth got solo 5th. James at 6th. Hope at 7th. You're at 8th. Adam had a pretty bad fall off. Got 9th. Brandon 10th. Josiah 11. David at 12. Bobo 13. And then Timmy, Tyler, and Lance, they all couldn't make it. So they all ended up last place. So that was our club championship right there. All right. So, Matt, we're rolling in. We're over an hour, but that's okay. We got plenty of airwaves to fill here. But I want to end this podcast with this could be your personal, this could be golf, this could be non-golf, but what are some of your New Year's resolutions for 2026?
Well, being a golf podcast, I'll keep it to golf. I just want to play I was going to say something really bureaucratic. My goal this year is to win the championship, right? I'm going to have a little bit different a mindset coming into this one. I think last year, you kind of just reminded me of what last year looked like compared to my first year. My first year, if you shot par 1 under, like you were near the top, 1st, 2nd, 3rd. And I remember thinking kind of midway through the season last year, I was like, man, par does not do it anymore. So I want to perform. I think I'm one of the better, I think I'm in the top half of golfers in this league. I think my handicap says that. And I want to finish inside that, place, right? Where my handicap says I should be competing against the group. So I'm sitting at 6 something. I think that's probably the 4th highest or lowest rather.
Yeah, right now you are 6.7, and the only people ahead of you are James, Seth, Brandon, and Hope.
Yeah. So those guys are my competition this season. I want to beat those guys. I'm not really going to worry about the other guys. And I want to win this one. That's my goal. I want to win this one.
I like it. So one of my New Year's resolutions, I'm going to give you 1 and 2 all in one swipe here. 1, I want to get out and play more golf. I think everybody that's a golfer probably would say the same. But number 2 for me is to play, capital PLAY, play more golf. I want to get out and enjoy the game again. Not that I haven't, but I think over the last couple of years, I've taken a big step back from golf. I've been, if it's a weekend, I'm not going to get a babysitter to go play golf anymore. If my kiddo wants to come, she'll come and I'll play. If she doesn't want to come, then I won't play. But I think I could definitely get out there and play a little bit more and just have a little bit more fun. And then from a competitive side, I just need to go out and enjoy myself because I found that I play my best golf when I'm not thinking too much about it and just having some fun while I'm playing. I consider myself an athlete. I think I can athlete my way around the golf course a little more than I have. I've been getting a little too technical a little bit lately, but then another resolution for me as it relates to this podcast is 2026 is the year that I'm investing hard money into the Sundowners. We did that a lot with the podcast. You and I have committed some time to this thing, and we're trying to make little upgrades when we can, and I'm going to be doing that all across Sundowners as a whole, whether it's the summer league, whether it's the tournaments that we host, whether it's starting to sell merchandise, starting to make some leaps and bounds. And 2026 is going to be the year that hopefully you can start seeing more Sundowner stuff coming out. And yeah, that's where I'm going to be going in 2026. Is I'm sitting next to this new hat press I got. We got a shirt press coming along the way. We're going to start making our own merchandise. So hopefully we can start rolling out some cool designs. Check out our website, sundownersgolfclub.com. And yeah, we're going to start treating this thing like a real business, like it is.
Love it.
Now, the other resolution I have as it relates to this podcast is I've already been making some strides here, but I want to start pushing out some content. I don't really view myself as a content creator or a YouTube golfer, but it's been a lot of fun. I just got a free trial to Final Cut Pro, and I'm doing some real video editing. So I'm hoping that every time we roll one of these podcasts out, I can have some sort of fun little short attached to it. If anybody here is listening and you've seen them, let me know what you think of them. Let me know if you hate them, if you think they're stupid, or if there's certain stuff you want to see. I want to get into it. I'm all in on this stuff, man. I'm leaning into this stuff. I have a ton of fun whenever we record. I know you and I talked about it. 31 episodes. It seems like a lot, but it also feels like we just started this yesterday. It hasn't felt like more than just a fun little hobby yet. So as long as it feels that way, I'm going to just lean into it.
Agreed, man.
All right, Matt. Well, what else do we got? We're at an hour 20. You got anything else for us before we log off?
I think that's it, man. I'm looking forward to our interview next week. I have a pretty good suspicion as to who we're talking to. He and I have a history. So I'm looking forward to getting a nice little chat.
Yeah, so some things to look forward to from here. We will have a guest next week. I think that'll be a great interview. I won't say who it is, but he is a local PGA professional, and he has an awesome, relatable story as to how he got into golf as a career. Really fun.
Most importantly, in his golf career, my golf career, but most importantly, is I beat him straight up at Palouse Ridge. So
you heard it here first. Matt beat a PGA professional. Yeah, and then so then we'll be rolling into the new year. PGA Tour season's going to be going live here in a couple weeks, so I'm excited to get back into the PGA Tour season and start following some professional golf. And yeah, some other fun events we got coming up. We're going to start treating March 1st, at least for those of you that are in Washington State or the Pacific Northwest. We are going to create a new holiday, and it's going to be March 1st, and that is the first day that active golf season starts here in Washington State. So we're going to create a holiday around it. We're going to get as many people as we can out on the course March 1st. We're going to get people out, and that'll be the first day we can post. Of course, we've talked about it before, but the Sundowners Golf Club has its own gym membership now. So if anybody wants to sign up for a gym membership, go to sundownersgolfclub.com. If you want to play with us on March 1st, come on out. We can get you signed up for a gym membership at a discounted rate. That's going to be a new holiday. It's marked on my calendar already.
Yeah, if baseball can have a holiday around their opening day, I think scoring your first round of the season should be a bigger deal.
You know what? I know I'm talking really tacky, like it's a big Sundowners pitch here, but just speaking freely here, but I don't see why March 1st isn't more of a celebrated day for golfers anyway, right? It's like active season starts, right? March 1st.
When you mentioned this to me about 2 months ago, I think, you said it, and when the words entered my brain, I had that exact thought, like, why hasn't this already been a thing? This should already be a thing. This should already be a big deal.
And you know what? We should also celebrate the end of the season, because there's a little bit of me that is excited to play winter rules golf where you can't post your score. We should have an Irish entrance and an Irish exit to the golf season. And that's exactly what the Sundowners are going to do. So come join us March 1st. I think it's a Sunday this year. We're not going to do anything big and fancy. We're just going to book a bunch of tee times, come on out and enjoy the day with us. And at the end, we're going to post our scores together. It's going to be a good time.
Love it. I'm so excited.
All right, Matt. Well, I think that'll round us off for the week. we'll talk next week, and then after that, we'll see you all next year.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.